WrestleMania 42 has come and gone. The dust has settled. Once again, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium. One of my favorite stadiums, if I'm being honest. I mean, I only have another one to compare it to, really, which is SoFi Stadium. But Allegiant Stadium is just a beautiful stadium, man. So majestic outside. When you're passing the Las Vegas Strip, it looks like a damn UFO, like a mothership just posted up right there near Vegas. But WrestleMania 42, was it good? Was it better than last year's and the debacle of last year's main event of night 2? Short answer, yes and no. WrestleMania 42 was a tale of two cities. Because the first show, WrestleMania Saturday, was gutter trash. It was garbage. And anybody trying to justify night 1 is lying to themselves. There was a horde of people on Twitter trying to defend night 1. And like, oh, we just had fun. Wrestling is supposed to be fun. You're not supposed to be a critic. Hell if I am. Motherfucker, when I go eat food at a restaurant and I pay hard-earned money to eat that food, I'm gonna fucking tell you if it's good or bad. Whether you like it or not, whether you thought it was good and so I should just like it too because I'm with my friends and we're having drinks and having a good time. No, motherfucker. It doesn't work that way. If I eat a piece of steak that's tough, that's not cooked the way I wanted it, and I paid my hard-earned money for said steak, I'm gonna tell the chef, I'm gonna tell the waiter, the waitress, like, hey man, my steak is kind of whack, bro. Like, I spent, a good $70 for this prime rib right here, or whatever, New York T-bone, and it's not up to par, homie. It's not, it's not worth what I paid. Like, can you tell the chef to recook it to how I want it, how I asked for it? Now, obviously, in the context of watching a wrestling show, it is a little different. You don't have a waiter to talk to, but that's what Twitter is for. That's literally what Twitter was created for, to voice your opinions. That's what social media is for, to voice your opinions and critique things, whether you're qualified to or not. That's literally what it's for. It's the water cooler. It's the modern day water cooler talk, So, listen, man, I was at WrestleMania last year in Vegas, WrestleMania 41, and I can tell you objectively that the show was trash, bro. It was trash. I spent my hard-earned money. I'm not gonna lie to myself and cope. Oh, well, I had a good time, and yes, I did have a good time. Me and my wife were wilding out. We played the slots, dude. We didn't just go to Vegas just for WrestleMania. We did the whole Vegas experience. We went to casinos. We went to a haunted museum where that show, I forgot what show it is. It's just some dumbass show where they go try to listen to ghosts talk and see paranormal activity in old places. but we went to the haunted museum. We did a lot of things. So, we had a good time, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna lie and say, oh yeah, WrestleMania was fun, it was a good show. No, it wasn't a good show. I had fun. I make it fun. Everywhere I go, I try to have fun. Even if I'm with some boring ass people or I'm not in the best of moods, I'm gonna try to have a good time. That's the spice of life. But I'm not gonna lie and cope and say, oh, well, I had a good time. WrestleMania is different when you're there live. No, motherfucker, no, it's not. I was there for fucking Stone Cold crashing his ATV on the stage. I didn't even know what the hell was going on. John Cena winning the world title with assistance from fucking Fiend. Travis Scott had that retarded ass song stuck in my head for almost an entire year now. No, it was not a good show. Top to bottom, yes, there was some great matches. Punk, Roman, Seth Rollins, main event of night 1, fantastic. But the main event of night 2 with Cody and Cena, absolute trash. And this year's WrestleMania was kind of similar. And I'm noticing a pattern now. It's always one night is going to be whack and the other night is going to be good. And it just depends what night it's going to be on any given moment. It could be, any given night. Like for us, night 1 was was actually better than night 2, I think, now that I'm thinking about it. But this year it's the other way around. Night 2 was way better than night 1. I think that's, I think that's going to be the new precedent that they're going to set, is like, they're going to stack night 2. Because I noticed that the ticket prices for WrestleMania Saturday were kind of cheaper than night 2. I was going to say significantly cheaper. Not significantly cheap, not substantially cheaper, but they were cheaper nonetheless. I looked at the tickets because I was debating whether going to WrestleMania or not. I was debating. I was like, fuck it. This is going to be the last year. It's in the United States. It's going to Saudi Arabia next year. And we sure as hell ain't going to fly out to Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania. So fuck it. I mean, let's go one last time, good or bad. But I'm like, nah, bro, I need to save my money. Like, I'm trying to go to the World Cup. There's a lot of other things I'm trying to do right now. So, my head won, my logic won, my rationality won. But so I stayed home and watched it. But I did look at the tickets for shits and giggles, and the tickets for WrestleMania Saturday were in fact cheaper than the tickets for WrestleMania Sunday. Now it could be a situation of them knowing, hey, you know what, we kind of loaded up night 2 and did the bare minimum for night 1. Like, maybe we're gonna have to drop the prices a wee bit for night 1, to offset, all the people buying just tickets to night 2, But like, I really think, putting on my conspiracy theorist hat on, my tinfoil hat, whatever, I really think that this is gonna be a new precedent where from now on, they're gonna load up night 2 and do the bare minimum for night 1, because night 1, think of it like entry level to WrestleMania, and then night 2 is the real WrestleMania that we all know and love and expect. You know what I'm saying? It's actually, if you think about it, it's very anti-consumer, but I can't even lie, it's actually kind of a smart business strategy, if I'm being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, load up night 2 and then just do the bare minimum for night 1 and make it like the entry level portion of the show, where people could get some last minute ticket buyers who are like, fuck it, night 1 is cheap, we don't have nothing else to do, let's go see it, fuck it, I don't know, that's just my thinking. It would not surprise me if the slime balls at TKO implore something like that, some kind of strategy like that. The ticket sales were substantially less. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I seem to remember last year's WrestleMania that I was at in Vegas, that shit did 72,000 on both nights, around that number, 70,000+ on both nights. I seem to remember 72,000 being the number that I remember. I don't know if that was for night 1 or night 2 or both nights. And this year they only did 50,000+. Now, of course, they combined both nights, and they gave you that 107K number. But they're 20,000+ short from what they did last year. So the people have spoken, and the people have voted with their wallets. And the question is this going to make a difference? Because the product has been in shambles, bro. If you notice, my YouTube channel is kind of like in an identity crisis right now. Because when I started this podcast, it was originally on Spotify, and I was strictly a wrestling podcast. I would talk about AEW mainly because I was excited. We got a brand new wrestling company that can be just as big as WWE eventually. Let's fucking follow it. Let's document this, with some recordings and talking about it. I was originally gonna do it with a friend. My friend would go on to start his own podcast, and yeah, man. This was originally just an all wrestling podcast, and then I took it to YouTube, 3 years later, after I started the podcast on Spotify using an app called Anchor. It was in 2019. In 2022, I believe it was, I finally decided to jump to YouTube without showing my face or anything, just uploading the audio into video format and trying to launch the podcast on YouTube. It's been about, I want to say about 2 years now. I want to say, maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's been about 2 years where this channel, I have not talked about strictly wrestling consistently. I'll have a video here and there pertaining to wrestling and some matters, but lately, man, I've just been talking all boxing. because it perfectly shows you how I've lost interest in pro wrestling, bro. I am a wrestling fan. I am a boxing fan. I'm a soccer fan. I like basketball a little bit. Although I haven't watched like the NBA, the playoffs and stuff like that. I haven't followed that in many, many years. I think the last time I watched the NBA playoffs and stuff was when the Beard Man was popular. Can't even remember his name right now, but long live the Beard. Houston Rockets, I believe. But Houston Rockets player. But anyway, damn, now not remembering his name is gonna kill me. But I've just been talking about boxing, man, because I've lost a lot of interest in wrestling. AEW is kind of just useless to watch, bro, because nothing ever goes anywhere in that company. You know, they just put the strap on Darby Allin. I'm happy for Darby, but I just don't think it was the right move to take the title off of MJF right now. I feel like he just won it back not too long ago. They're playing hot potato with their main strap. Like, that's not a good look. And WWE, bro, WWE's product is almost, I'm not gonna say it is just as bad, but it's almost as bad as it was in 2018, 2019, 2020. Those 3 years, that 3 year period right there that I just said, 2018, 19, and 20 for WWE, bro, that's gotta be like the worst era they've ever had. The worst 3 year stretch that they've ever had. That was absolutely awful. And that's why when AEW launched, us wrestling fans were so fucking excited, dog, and just so hopeful for this new startup wrestling company that's backed by billionaires that could actually be a legit challenger brand to WWE. And fast forward, 6 years later, and AEW is in the exact same place it was when it started, if not even worse off now. I don't know what they're doing ratings wise, numbers wise. I don't really care, quite frankly, because again, with AEW, I want them to be successful. God forbid we just have TKO WWE, bro. God forbid. That'll be terrible, man. It'll be like just having Nintendo. No PlayStation, no Xbox, just Nintendo. That's a very good example right there. It would be like that. Like, bro, that would be awful. We need options. We need alternatives. But AEW just ain't it, bro. They've shown me that in 6 years, they haven't grown. They haven't attracted a new audience. They haven't built any stars that could rival a John Cena, a Roman Reigns, a Undertaker, The Rock, Austin. They haven't built any stars that could come close to any of those names I just mentioned. And that's unacceptable. When you have all that money, bro, billions of dollars that you have behind you, and you have a fucking TV network as big as TNT, TBS working with you, and you're on a streaming platform now as well, on top of that, HBO Max, and you're still not growing your brand, your audience, your stars, there's a big problem there, dude. There's a big problem. Even TNA, bro, in the early 2000s, even motherfucking TNA, bro, they brought in Kurt Angle, Sting, they were building stars like Robert Roode and what's that Canadian dude's name that Robert Roode would, he went to WWE eventually. Eric Young, they had Styles, Christopher Daniels, homie, Frankie Kazarian, bro. TNA was making a bigger blast in this business, for lack of a better word. They were making a bigger impact. I didn't want to say impact, it's corny, but no pun intended. TNA was making a bigger impact than AEW is right now. Fucking TNA, they had nowhere near the amount of money that AEW has backing them, okay? And they were doing better, in my opinion. They were doing better with the limited resources that they had than what AEW is doing right now as I'm speaking. And that's unacceptable. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm looking at all this stuff, and he's a stats guy, he's a numbers guy, he's a big fucking nerd. Like, I'm sure he realizes this stuff, but I don't know, man. It's just a lost cause, bro. And so I've kind of fallen out of love with wrestling. You've just been seeing me post nothing but boxing content now. And I did intend for this channel. That's why it's called the highlight reel. It's not called the wrestling. I could have given this channel a cool wrestling podcast name, like Off the Ropes or some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's a cool name. The Royal Ramble, Off the Ropes, or Kick Out Pod or some shit like that. But it's called the highlight reel because I really just want to talk about sports. Not just wrestling, but combat sports in general. I intended boxing, wrestling, maybe even MMA, but I mean, I have zero interest in MMA, if I'm being honest. But nonetheless, man, all that to say, that long-winded diatribe, all of that to say, WrestleMania 42, night 1, had really opened a lot of eyes into what's wrong with pro wrestling today, and specifically what's wrong with WWE today. Bro, call it commercial mania. And that goes to night 2 as well. The amount of advertisements, absolutely egregious, bro. Ridiculous. Like, it was non-stop. We literally went to a commercial break just to come back to more advertisements, via WWE's production. Like, I watched the entire Hulk Hogan documentary bullshit that's coming to Netflix through ads during the stream. Now I use a VPN. I'm not gonna lie, I use a VPN, so I watch WrestleMania on Netflix with I set my fucking router to the UK servers, and I use my VPN. I'm not about to pay. I already pay for too much shit, man. Too much. This is the problem when you fuckers compartmentalize all of your content and put it on a bunch of different platforms. ESPN, but I need Peacock to watch Saturday night's main event and SmackDown. I need Netflix for Raw, ESPN Plus for the PLEs. Fuck all that bullshit. So anyway, the advertisements were absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Egregious, whatever word you want to use. I've never seen anything like this. Back in the day, and I'm not saying we should bring Vince McMahon back. Let me just preface with that. I am not saying we need to bring Vince McMahon back by any means. But back in the day when Vince McMahon was running the show, when he was the showrunner, you would never see shit like this. And he would be kind of a whore with his advertisements too. But the cool thing that Vince did is he incorporated advertisements with backstage skits. Like he had, I'll never forget, there was one time they were sponsored by Long John Silver's or something like that, and they had fucking Otis and some other fat fucks with like a big old Long John Silver's combo meal, and they were eating it backstage, and they did a funny skit, and like they would incorporate advertisements with wrestlers in backstage skits. It wasn't that egregious. It was actually kind of funny. It gave you a chance to use the restroom, but without overstaying its welcome. But the ads in this WrestleMania, man, bro, this didn't feel like a WrestleMania. This felt like we were watching a Monday Night Raw with all these advertisements. It was worse than Monday Night Raw. Dare I say it? WrestleMania's amount of advertisements and commercials was worse than your typical Monday Night Raw, 2.5 hour Monday Night Raw, bro. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I've never seen something like that. So that's what's wrong with WWE today. TKO has really taken it into a commercialization. We don't give a fuck really about wrestling. We're more about marketing. We're more about, fucking advertising. We're agents now. That's all WWE is one big fat ass agent whoring out products and services and things. And that's sad, bro. That's sad to see WWE stoop to that level under TKO. Night 2 was so much better than night 1. It was still shitty with the amount of advertisements, but as far as the matches and the overall flow of the show, minus the fucking advertisements ruining everything. You had Brock Lesnar retiring right before our eyes, at least symbolically, leaving his gear in the ring, and only for us to cut to a goddamn Credit One commercial. Like, here's Brock Lesnar crying with tears in his eyes. Paul Heyman looking like a little boy on Christmas who didn't get what he wanted, crying as they walk out of the arena, and we cut to a Credit One commercial. What the fuck is that? You would never see that under Vince McMahon, bro. And again, please don't get it twisted. I am not saying Vince McMahon needs to come back. That's a rhetoric that's been gaining a lot of traction lately. Okay? I am not by any means saying that Vince McMahon needs to come back. Bro, I remember how bad WWE was, in fucking 2019, 2020, 2018. I'll never forget that. That truly was the dark ages for WWE. That was bad. And that was all Vince. That was all Mr. McMahon. Okay? People think Triple H's booking is shit right now. Bro, y'all forgot Vince McMahon's 2018 to 2020 booking. That shit was fucking horrible, dog. And really, the only thing that kind of saved his booking in the 2020s, before he exited in 2021, 22, 23. I think 23 was his final year in the chair. The only thing that saved that was the Bloodline thing. That's it, really. It was still pretty mid in every other department outside of the Bloodline. So anyway, I am not saying Vince needs to come back. All I'm saying is you would never see Vince McMahon whore out his company like this when he was in charge, bro. Fucking Slim Jim logos on the tables. You got the Credit One logo on the fucking top turnbuckle pad or the middle turnbuckle pad. It's just fucking ridiculous, man. The ads on the ring, the ads on the barricade, LED screens. Bro, it's... Oh, man. I'm geeking out, bro. Like, I'm nerd raging. I've never seen something like this, in a wrestling show. It's like a fucking NASCAR. Where you see the NASCARs going by and they have all the fucking ads all over the car. You can't even appreciate the cars because they're just filled with a bunch of fucking ads and things like... And even that, like, it feels natural, though. I guess because NASCAR's been doing that shit for so many years and generations that shit is just normal for them. But to see WWE take that route, it just doesn't feel right. It's very off-putting, man. So, Night 2 was incredible, though. That main event with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, match of the year. And I know we're only in April. And it's already case closed, papa. CM Punk versus Roman Reigns was match of the fucking year. And there's nothing that's gonna top it. I don't care what AEW does. I don't care how many syringes and fucking shards of glass Adam Page or whoever, John Moxley stick in their fucking arms and faces. I don't give a fuck what they do. They could do 20 flips and dives and false counts and fight forever chants from the crowd. Nothing is gonna top what CM Punk and Roman Reigns did in the main event of Night 2. Bro, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, main event of Night 2, WrestleMania 42, bro, that's what pro wrestling is all about. That's why we're all fans of pro wrestling. That match was absolutely flawless. In my book, that match was flawless, bro. It was a fucking roller coaster. I didn't know where it was going. I legitimately... Towards the middle point of the match, I legitimately did not know who's gonna win. And I'll be the first to tell you, as a lifelong wrestling fan practically at this point, I'll be the first to tell you, like, wrestling is a very predictable show. Let's be honest with ourselves. As wrestling fans, let's be fucking honest for a minute. Wrestling is a very predictable show. But when a match like this could actually skew your perception and make you think, fuck, I don't know who's gonna win this shit. Like, I legitimately don't. I went in, this is kind of a toss-up because I really think it makes more sense for Punk to retain because he's he's going to be there every week. And Roman is like a part-timer. He's kind of got that Undertaker-like schedule now. Maybe not like that, but almost. So it makes more sense for Punk to retain. He just won the title, it feels like. And then, towards the middle point of the match, I'm like, oh shit, Roman's gonna win. Then I jump back, oh no shit, Punk's gonna win, oh shit. It was awesome, man. That's what wrestling is all about, bro. That storytelling, their facial expressions, the way they were talking shit to each other in the middle of the ring, the way they were looking at each other, mean mugging each other, the fucking announcer table spots. I mean, it was just incredible, man. Incredible. That match made me feel like a kid again. Let's put it like that. Not to be corny, but that's the best way to put it. That fucking match made me feel like a kid again, bro. Jumping up and down off of my damn sofa. My wife is looking at me like I'm out of my goddamn mind. But it was worth it. That was a great match. This recording is getting kind of long. I'm just gonna overall, man, I don't do number ratings. I do grades. I'm gonna say this oh man, this is tough. This is tough because it's a tale of two cities with night 1 and night 2. Night 2 being drastically better than night 1, but with the fucking advertisements, bro, the amount of commercials, it really fucked up the overall rating of the show. So I'm gonna have to say WrestleMania 42 was a C+. And the only reason it's not a B or a B- is because of the advertisements. Because night 2 had very good matches, especially that main event. Bro, I'm salty because that main event of night 2 was better than both main events combined of the WrestleMania I went to last year, WrestleMania 41. That was a fucking special match. Very special match. But because of all the advertisements and because of the absolute underwhelming, boring night 1, the overall grade I'm giving this year's WrestleMania is a C+.